Today I continue my look at component breakdowns by looking at the recently re-released game DungeonQuest by Fantasy Flight Games. DungeonQuest was originally released back in the 80s and came out with an expansion as well called the Catacombs. Fantasy Flight has pretty much combined the original and the expansion into one game and refined some of the combat. So we'll take a look at what actually comes inside the box so everyone can decide for themselves if this is something they'd be interested in. I believe the game releases at the end of this month or early September 2010. So let's take a look. On the right hand side you have about a 30-page full-color rules manual. You have the Dragon's Lair cards, which are come with 8 total. 7 of them refer to the dragon being asleep, and one of them is when the dragon rages and wakes up. Right above that we have the rune cards. Rune cards are one-time shot runes that are allowed to be used by each of the characters, and once it's gone, it's gone. You don't replenish these in the game. Here we have the actual combat cards on the back side. And on the front side, we have the 3 different types of cards. On the left is melee, on the center is ranged, and on the right is magic. Each one of these essentially works like a game of rock, paper, scissors, with the numerical value usually winning. On the right hand side there is an icon, and one of these always trumps another one, so it allows you to counterattack your opponent. It's a pretty neat concept. It does drag out the game just a little bit, but it's still really nice to have something different than what they had in the original release. This is a bag of tiles. These are the dungeon chambers themselves. Now, it doesn't come with this bag, and I have purchased this outside of the game just because it's a lot easier than using the box top to draw tiles from. There's about 120 of these dungeon chambers. And last are the 3 extra sets of cards you get in the game. They go to the game's Rune Wars, Rune Bound, and Descent. They're pretty much just crossover characters that you can use in each of those other games if you own them. This is the main board. At the very top of the board you have the Sun Tracker, which has about 26 turns to actually get in and get out of the dungeon. So it's not a game that you essentially want to do any combat with or toil around searching rooms. You essentially want to get to the center, get as much loot as you can, and get right back out. As I said, there's about 26 spots on the top. It does extend out if the roll of the dice is doing well. On the very top you see numerical values. So if you're on that spot with a 1 and you roll a 1 at the end of the game essentially is over. If you roll a 2 or higher, you go on to the next spot. And essentially the game can continue infinitely if someone keeps rolling a 6. But if they roll in that range, the game ends immediately. Below here I put some of the dungeon chambers down for you guys to look at. There's a variety of about, I would say probably about 12 to 15 different kinds of chambers, but within those there's quite a few different ones with different angles, different entrances, the way they're rearranged. But as far as unique tiles, there's about 12 to 15 very unique ones. Below that we have all the decks that are included in the game. And we'll start on the left-hand side. There's the Dungeon deck, which is essentially about 90% of the cards you'll be drawing from. Almost every single one of the Dungeon chambers you'll be drawing a Dungeon card from. The Crypt deck, the Corpse deck, the Door deck, the Search deck, the Trap deck, the Treasure deck, and finally the Catacombs deck. We'll go over here to the life tokens. There's numerous life tokens. I've only pulled a couple of them out, but they come in numerical values of 1 and 5. Above that you have the 5 different minions that are included in the game. Each of the minions has 4 tokens, and on the back side, I've only flipped the one for the golem there, but they give you a numerical value. That is the number of hit points that you will have in combat for that turn. So you pretty much draw randomly how many hit points they have. Now all of them have a range, with the demon being the most and the skeleton being the least. And they also have their own unique set of 4 individual power cards, which are essentially just beefed up combat cards. These are drawn randomly as well. You have catacomb tiles. These are placed when you draw specific cards from any of the several 8 decks that come with the game. Determination tokens, these are placed on your character sheet when you fail at some of your tests and give you additional abilities to be able to pass those tests later in the game. The key, which is essentially just the start player token, and 4 golden looking dice. The game also comes with 6 characters. Each character comes with their own set of 4 power cards and a miniature, which is very typical to the other games in FFG's line. They're fairly nice sculpted. And to the right of that you see a little compass with their picture on it. That is used for the catacombs. When you go into the catacombs, you remove your miniature from the game and place that in the direction in which you're fumbling through the dark. And when you come back out of the catacombs, you re-put your miniature back into the game. So that's what that little icon is. So that is essentially what comes inside of the box of Dungeon Quest. Again, I hope everyone enjoyed this and looks forward to more of my component reviews down the line. Thank you.